Overcoming Our Struggle with Sin by Monique and Nketah. For what the law was powerless to do, because it was weakened by the flesh, God did by sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh to be a sin offering. Romans chapter 8, verse 33. Have you ever procrastinated on a project that you had weeks to complete? In the beginning, you put the project off because you knew you had time. As the time ran out, you may have completed the project, but you knew it wasn't your best work. Some of the mistakes could have been easily solved had you had more time. Procrastination feels good at the time, but can have a detrimental effect on the task at hand. Similarly, sin can feel good at the time, but it leads to death. So how do we overcome our struggle with sin? As Christians, we will struggle with sin. It's inevitable because we are sinful by nature. Paul was a famous sinner, but through God became an even more famous apostle. In this passage, Paul is showing us that even he struggled with sin. Know that you are loved despite the sin. When the crowd brought the adulterous woman to Jesus, he didn't condemn her for her sins. He gave her grace. In the same way, God knows us and loves us beyond the sin. Acknowledge where you are and change your behavior with God's help. Paul knew that his sin was wrong, and he acknowledged a war going on within himself. He knew he needed saving from someone beyond himself. We cannot solve our sin issues in our own strength. The more we try, the deeper into sin we will fall. We have to seek God's help, which is ultimately why Jesus came, to be the sin offering. Our need for a Savior doesn't stop the moment we get saved, because sin still exists in the world. We need help from God every day. Finally, when we are in constant communication and developing our relationship with God, He helps us to overcome sin. Galatians chapter 5, verse 16 says, I say then, walk by the Spirit, and you will certainly not carry out the desire of the flesh. The more we develop our relationship with God, the less sin will have a stronghold in our lives. Read Romans chapter 7, verse 14 to chapter 8, verse 4. Do you see how you are not alone in your struggle with sin? We all struggle with something. Sin keeps us humble and reminds us to run to the Father when we have issues. Take it to God and watch how He helps you.